No, I keep on mind. What paper scissors? Lucy goes first. Are you ready? We got to do it this way. Paper scissors shoot. What paper scissors shoot? What paper scissors shoot? It's 1-0.
I mean, you go.
Yeah, but best out free. Alright, go on, best out free, right?
You won.
Yeah, but best out free. Do you not know the rules of what paper scissors shoot? What paper scissors shoot? Alright, see.
You're acting like whoever has to read is losing. Like,
No,
this
it's
is
your
your
line.
line.
Duncan, you're reading first.
Fine, I'll do it first.
Doesn't have a coin.
Alright.
Okay, I think.
If you just go on Google and just say.
Wow. You're going to digitally flip a coin.
You know what? That takes away of the traditional of the coin. You know that takes away traditional. You know what that takes away? No. We did one paper scissors, so I'm going first.
Still though.
Alright, what paper? Alright, heads. I'm heads. I'm heads.
Tails.
Let's have three.
Alright, fine. You do it again.
Let's have three.
How was your dad?
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails.
You go first.
Yeah, Karim, mate, you won.
So, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you all here. So I've got a poem here that is, I've never shared it before. This is the first time. So my background, I'm Ugandan. I was born and raised here. I was born and raised in London. So this poem kind of takes us back to the 1970s of Uganda, when we had, at the time we had President Idi Amin was running the country. And at the time he was getting like very frustrated with the economy. I mean, the economy was doing really well at the time. I think around maybe, the economy was doing really well. There was a lot of Asian Ugandans in Uganda at the time, and during this time he wanted to marry a young Sikh woman, and the family rejected him. So upon the rejection, he expelled many Asians from Uganda, and around 27,000 approximately left Uganda and went to the United Kingdom. So this poem that I'm gonna read is inspired by a Ugandan man that falls in love with an Asian woman. But it's not about Idi Amin. It's just that time period there was a lot of interracial marriages, interracial faiths getting together. So yeah, this poem's inspired by that. Bless your soft neck. Bless your salted sweat. Bless how you care for me. It is a blessing to be in your presence. Moments with you always feel precious. My hand in yours. Love is you. I hold my immense tears. Whatever the president said last night, my body shivers hearing the radio. You always make me laugh. I dream of visiting cities around the world with you. Dance with me in the night. Idi Amin is disgruntled. Idi Amin is expelling Asians. I tell my mother about you. She asks me. I say to her, you are Indian. How you are the love of my life. Bless your heart. The glow of my entire smile. Patience and gratitude. We will always see each other again.
Cool. Firstly, thank you so much for sharing that poem and giving us some of the background to it. I think the question I want to ask was, I never knew that actual backstory about Idi Amin and the rejection, and that being a catalyst for the expulsion of Asians. That's something, even as an Asian, growing up in the UK, where I was taught that one day I'll get expelled from here because it happened in Uganda. How come we don't know that side of the story? Like, even recently, a Ugandan friend of mine told me that during that expulsion, there was also a massive exodus and brain drain of like the middle class, because it was just, you know, living under Idi Amin was not tenable. So why is it that we don't hear either of those two narratives, whether it's the one that you shared with us today, or even the point that I brought up? Like,
I think there's a lot of misinformation, and the fact that when people mention Uganda, Idi Amin is one of the faces that comes up. He's one of the negative portrayals of Uganda. But Uganda is actually a beautiful country, beautiful culture, beautiful people. The lifestyle's easy. There's a lot of Asians in Uganda. A lot of Asians in Uganda, they see Uganda as home. Uganda is home to many people. Even recently, Sudanese people are in Uganda. You've got Somalians in Uganda. So Uganda is multicultural, multicultural. And I think as well, a lot of stories that are positive, they don't get shed on with the light. There's not a lot of reflection on them. Maybe because of the fact that there's this whole idea that Uganda's a dictatorship, and it's got like this territorial ruler. Currently, actually, we've got Museveni at the moment, and he's not done a lot for the country. But before that, we had Idi Amin, and he didn't do a lot for the country, but he did a lot of other things as well. I think that the media as well, the way they portray him as a villain. They portray him as, you know, the person that was against the West, the person that had all these, you know, infiltrating ideas. He wanted to bring down, you know, the status quo and all of that. And it's like, actually, Uganda is one of the countries that has produced a lot of things for the world. Like, we're one of the leading countries when it comes to coffee. So, as well as Uganda has a lot of sugarcane. Uganda has a lot of, we've got a lot of natural resources. We've got a lot of oil. We've got a lot of gas now. I mean, the government wants to invest in that. But the fact that this story that I read out, I mean, the fact that he expelled 27,000 Asians and they moved to the UK in the 1972, and a lot of them, some of them went back as well. And there is like an entire anthology of people going back and reconnecting with the motherland, reconnecting with like the shops that they left, because the Asian Ugandans, they were doing so well for the economy. They had a lot of businesses. They had a lot of, restaurants, banks, coffee shops, and like this was driving Uganda in the 1970s. And then the fact that we kind of lost that is disheartening.
one final thing, like, having been in sort of like a fan of your poetry for a while, love's always been a big thread in your work. I'm just wanting to ask, are we going to see more poems where you explore your Ugandan roots like this one? Because I'd love to I definitely, as a fan of your work, would love to see more of that.
Yeah, like I said, this piece I've never shared it out before. And I love exploring my ancestral roots. I love exploring Uganda. I've only been to Uganda 3 times in my entire life. And every time I've been, it's changed me in a particular way. Maybe it's made me see things in a new light. It's made me appreciate the privileges I've got here. I mean, we've got a growing middle class economy right now. There's a lot of new things in Uganda. There is all these people who have businesses, all these people who have promising ideas. And also, Uganda is one of the youngest countries in the world. Like 60% of Uganda is under the age of 25. So there's a lot of promise, but then at the same time, that means that we have to produce a lot of jobs for those future generations that are coming. And the president we have at the moment, he's in his 80s, and he's not really connected with the younger generation. He's kind of disconnected, and the younger generation are not connected to him, so his message is not resonating. And if I can use my poetry to kind of connect with Uganda and connect with the young people there, who knows?
Yeah, I wanted to just say thank you for sharing, one. And two, also for me, when you read the piece, there was two like main themes that came out. One was like belonging, and the other one was authenticity. I don't even know how to word the question, but I feel like in your piece, how can someone show up in their authentic self when they don't have that like sense of belonging? Like, who are they before they were interrupted? And I feel like, even with poetry, like, and as people, we're kind of like a collage. We take different bits from different cultures, different experiences. How, I don't know, maybe it can't be answered, but how do we show up authentically when, before we're interrupted, before we have these experiences, before, we feel these emotions? I don't even know if that's a question, or I don't know how you're answering.
I get what you're saying. A human being is a bit like a puzzle. Like, we've got all these things that make us who we are. We've got our personality, we've got our interests, we've got our beliefs, we've got our values, we've got other people's values, we've got other people's expectations, and we have our own thing. And I think our own thing is a combination of all these things, but then it's like it's a bit like when somebody gives you a canvas to paint something, you kind of have to paint what you see in. You kind of have, if someone tells you to paint the sky, you have to paint the sky how you see the sky. And that's where your authenticity comes. And I think that's what I try and do with my poetry. I try and put as much me as I can in my poetry, even though it's hard. I try and put as much me as possible, so that my inner child can be like, I can connect with that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, your poetry style, some of the lines you said actually resonated in one of the titles of my poems as well. So when I heard your piece here, it spoke to me in a lot of volumes, like the words you use. Like, what I like about your style of writing is that you have the aura of calmness, like that aura of calmness. I could listen to your poems, it just puts me at ease. Even right now, I'm feeling very emotional, like to a point like, wow, I feel completely vulnerable. Like, I feel like almost tears of joy. And like I said, listen to your piece and you explaining about your culture and background. I'm like, I can actually relate to this in so many ways. I mean, with us poets here, we write a lot, but do we actually got people that actually make us feel a certain way that no one can actually make us feel and connect to us on a deeper level? I mean, us humans, we are a complex creature, but at the bottom line, we do have emotions. I mean, as someone like me, I tend to struggle with my emotions, so writing poetry is my best way of expressing my emotions, how I really think and feel. But like listening to your piece here, it spoke to me a lot about, and it gave me an idea of who you are, and I appreciate that as well. So yeah.
I had a random question, but it's a roundabout question. Thank you so much for sharing. Do you know, as you were reading, it echoed a lot about identity. We've got love in there. We've got an entire history where, you see other cultures coming in. And then you mentioned you've been back home 3 times. Now that you've gone and had these journeys and you realize that each one sort of like transitions and translates you slightly differently and connects you better, how do you see yourself today drawing this from the same passages in terms of, the symbolism of what the conflict is going on and also the romanticism of it as well? Like, how, if you were to loosely, openly just talk about it, the influences had on you as well as you've been growing up into just finding this information,
So you're saying the influences of Uganda?
influences of Uganda.
Yeah.
When you see stories like these, come out and unfold in terms of the symbolism of what's actually happening at the time.
Oh, I see.
And then, now you're here, but you've gone back home 3 times over the course of several years. And what impact do you think it's left on you when you look at, oh, I'm a bit like this, or, I write like this, and now when I go back, I can see maybe this is how it's impacted me. So let me dig a little bit deeper about my own history.
I think it just adds a new layer. It adds a new perspective, and it creates this almost like a dichotomy of this is how I am in the motherland. This is how I am when I'm, in my birthland, and it's like it just creates this whole air on space of like I can explore this. I can do something with this. I can cultivate some sort of space to express this. So I think, it just adds a whole brand new layer. Yeah.
Because the reason I ask is because as I see you sitting here and I then immerse into the actual poetry, you can see the connection of the time difference sort of just come in just with you presenting it. And that in itself, I think adds the current dialogue to something that brings almost the history back to life, in that way, but translated a little bit differently. It's really beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, first of all, appreciate you guys coming here as well, because me and Mel have been talking about this for like a year now. And I would say my poetry journey, so I would say I've been writing for like almost 10 years now, but it all started for me from a journal perspective. So I used to write down how I thought about certain things, like how friends, family members see me as well. And I remember like my poetry journey, I started like 2 years ago. I was never into poetry whatsoever, but I started writing them, and then I performed at BYB, and it was actually a great experience performing at BYB. Like, I felt like I could actually go to a place where actually I didn't feel like a weirdo. That everyone wants to hear what I'm thinking. Because I was too scared to share my thoughts with people. I used to be thinking like I'm a weirdo, I'm a outsider, I'm an outsider. But then coming to a poetry space over the years, I feel good, I feel great. I mean, I've done a couple of headlines. I mean, me presenting BYB as well, it's given me that idea of form identity that I'm becoming. So I'm going to share some piece of poems here that is kind of a collection of a book that I'm trying to make, like, my first draft. So this poem is called Keep Dancing. So behind this poem, it was actually inspired by one of my favorite R&B singers, Sierra, and her song Keep Dancing. So it goes something like this. Keep dancing. I dance with the idea of you being annoying and silly with me. The childish side of me plays. We play, make love, come out and play. We sing together, hearing each other's voices. Makes the sky cry with joy and happiness. Keep dancing with me until you can't feel your legs. When I lose my voice, make me empty, yet my body fills your soul when we keep dancing.
I'll start this off. What I love about this is like obviously this is I'm no stranger to your romance poetry, but there was a lot of things like dance for me till you can't feel your legs, and what was the line after that?
I think it was what was it? Let me do that line one. Let me read it.
It was like it was quite short as well. So
yeah, I think it was like what's it? Make the sky cry with joy and happiness. Keep dancing with me until you can't feel your legs. While I lose my voice, making me empty. Yet my body fills your soul when we keep dancing.
Yeah, so what I love about love poetry in general is like this idea of like loving to completion, where like it takes so much out of you, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So obviously, I just want to know out of curiosity, like, is this written for someone or just an amalgamation of?
Nah.
I'm not trying to get tea.
No. So no. I'm glad you asked that question. So to me, it's just like, when I write my poetry, it's like the love department is never my strong subject, because to me it's just like I'm more of like philosophical, like think like like someone like Plato or Socrates or Epictetus, something that kind of way. So to me, it's like the reason I made that poem here is like I need to get back to my teenage days. Because when I was a teenager, I used to listen to a lot of R&B songs. I listened to Mario, Chris Brown, Omarion. So like that was me getting back to my teenage roots of being like a sweet boy, like before it was served by Lover Boy days. So like I mean back then, yeah, like when you were a teenager, you used to like listen to those kind of people. And R&B is still into my heart. I still listen to these R&B singers, but now I'm getting older. It's kind of hard for me to get back to the R&B essence nowadays because the R&B music I listen to is just like, I'm sorry, yeah, but it's just garbage to me. It's like pure garbage. It's just too much situation shit. I'm like, what happened to the old school?
I agree.
No, like, what happened to like old school R&B artists, yeah, that was singing in the rain, like literally, like Neo Mad. Like that's to me. It's like so when I listen to love songs, yeah, like I listen to people that get me in my feelings, like proper feelings. Like I'll listen to like someone like Brandon to help me get back to the essence of like deep R&B soul. And I think that's what to me the music industry, especially R&B, it lost that touch and essence.
Yeah, you're right. I actually feel like we're in this era where like the R&B singers are more harder than the rappers these days. Like Chris Brown is way harder than name me a rapper that's
Quavo.
No, not even Lil Nas. Lil Nas is sick. I can't even think, but yeah, like Chris Brown is harder than anyone right now. But I don't listen to Chris Brown music, to be fair, since certain situations. But yeah, I agree. Anyone else got a question?
Is there any like aspect of, I guess, your poetry which is maybe a bit more like, do you ever like self-reflect whilst also thinking of like other, like with that specific one, with the sort of keep dancing concept, was it sort of, were you thinking of purely being with someone, or was it more a reflection of like self and how you interacted in spaces with other people?
I think it was that one. I'll be honest with you. That time I was listening to R&B music. So how my brain operates, it depends on my mood. If I'm in an R&B mood, I'll listen to R&B music. If I'm like critical thinking mind, I'll listen to certain artists that get me thinking. So to me, how my brain works, it's weird, but I kind of have a certain order if I write certain things. If I want to go to like deep craziness, I'll listen to Eminem. Like I'll listen to Eminem to get to that crazy side of writing. If I want to get to like conscious or hip hop side, I'll listen to like something like J. Cole or Kendrick. Like that kind of conscious. Or if I want to like party vibes or something, I'll just listen to a bit of Drake now and then. But that's a different story. But but in terms of like R&B music, I would just say I go back to old school R&B artists, like people that actually knew that type of music. I mean, funny enough, yeah, I actually listened to Metaphorest's playlist. Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah. So to me, it's like I was never interested in love poems yet until I listened to certain people. Like certain poets, yeah, when I listen to them, like they good at it. Like someone like Metaphorest or RVJ, I'll listen to their pieces and I'm like, all right, let me take notes here how you do it in my head mentally, and I can try see if I can like imitate in my own style way. Like to me, like I said with the song "Keep Dancing," to me it was one of my favorite Sierra songs because I remember when I was 16, yeah, I started buying CDs. And my first two CDs I bought was actually Neo, Year the Gentleman, and Sierra, Fancy Ride. So to me, it's like going back to my teenage days, it helped me reconnect to what I've lost, but also gain something new.
You said before that you needed to reconnect with your younger self. Why do you think that was important to do? And also, do you listen to music when you write?
Yeah, I actually do listen to music when I write. It's weird, but there's one serious song, yeah, I listen to that if I ever get like proper deep into my feelings, it's weird, but I listen to Drake's song called AM in Charlotte. And I actually like that track because even though that album, I'll be honest, is garbage, it's like the only song I like here because it's poetry to me. And him being vulnerable and being honest, how he feels, how people see him and everything, I've listened to it because it's poetry. And I look at it from a poetry perspective, I'm like, wow, that's actually the poetry. Like, the lines are corny, but it is poetry in some way. But to me, it's like, when I listen to certain artists, I go by the artists that influenced me since my childhood as well. Like a little bit Nas, like Illmatic, It Was Written Days. or like someone like Jay-Z, Where's Your Doubt. But to me, it's like, I'd say most of my inspiration comes from reading books or having conversation or listening to music. I mean, on the way here, I was listening to Outkast, the Love Below album, to like, just get that feeling. I listened to the Love Below side, like from almost start to finish. So yeah, so in terms of writing style, I'll just say like, I'm always constantly thinking. I'm a thinker, that's how I operate. Like, I'm literally thinking about anything that comes to my hand. So my style is more like, I like to just the elephant in the room. That's who I am. Like, I like to talk about stuff that no one wants to talk about. But I'm like, let me go there.
Hi, Duncan. Someone who admires R&B, like myself as well, I just wanted to ask you, why do you think some of these R&B artists, their legacy lives on? And with the way the world is shaping and transforming and evolving, why do you think that some of these youths don't really understand the lyrics behind some of these R&B artists? And how does that impact you going forward and expressing yourself?
I think it's kind of hard because to me it's like from an early age I was diagnosed with dyslexia as well. So to me it's like I struggled to read the room. For example, like back in the day, I couldn't tell if someone liked me or not, and I can't tell if someone's being genuinely polite with me or flirting with me. So like me listening to like the R&B music now, yeah, I feel like it's affected a young generation of boys, because the amount of times I hear young boys say, "Oh, forget love, man. Let me just get my bread. Let me get my money." And I'm like, you literally you misunderstand the whole aspect of love. Like to me, it's like when you listen to, like I said, all these R&B singers, yeah, I listen to them nowadays. I'm like, all you talk about is pain and suffering. Like, there's more to life than pain and suffering. Like literally, like I can't remember last time R&B singer a song about like he met a girl, he crossed like Chris Brown, yo, like he met her across the room, saying like she looks beautiful, she looks nice, I want to make her my wife. I don't hear those kind of songs. Like advertise kids to get married. Now it's just like, oh, I just like I dealt with a girl, we had a situationship, one night stand, friends of benefits, and I'm like to me it's like that's kind of messing you up mentally. And I think with the music industry as well, they don't care about how you feel, they care about the selling. Because pain sells. Like, pain literally sells. No one wants to hear you happy. Like, that's the dark, harsh reality of the music industry. Like, you listen like old school R&B songs, like someone like Brandy or Leo, like, 1 in a Million, or like my favorite song from Leo, 4-Page Letter. Like, that gets me in my feelings. Like, once that song 4-Page Letter, I'm like, yo, I'm actually want to settle down now. Like, I listen to that song and I'm like, I can literally hear the beats and I'm like, it's proper deep. And bear in mind, they were teenagers when we made these songs. And that's like, to me, like, I'll say with chest, from the 80s to early 2000, that's when R&B was at its best. Like, after 2010, it just went downhill. Like, that's what, like, to me, is like, I feel like that was a golden time era as well. Like, I mean, my favorite R&B singers for females, it has to be A. Marie and Ciara. There was a T people that, like, I still listen to their songs. Like, Why Don't We Fall in Love? I love that song to this day. Like, I'm always cool. I'm literally a sucker for love.
You got one yet?
Actually, it's not really. It's more like recommendations. So I think you mentioned your favorite R&B singers, but I would say you should listen to Monica's album, The Boy Is Mine. Every track on there is a banger. From For You I Will, Right Here Waiting, even though some of them are covers. There's a tune with Andre 3000, which is probably one of my favorite Andre 3000 verses. Obviously Brandy's album, like Groove Theory, yeah. But also I would like to extend it to the singer of Groove Theory, Amel Larrieux. Beautiful, Infinite Possibilities is my favorite album. Every track from there is like, if you like neo soul, it's a beautiful. There's one song called Make Me Whole, which is gonna be my wedding song. So I would say definitely listen to that. But yeah, that's what I want to.
Scott's first album.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to. It's not even a question, but just recommendations.
So I'm a big fan of films. I sometimes watch films to inspire me to write. So during, I think it was like 2 years ago, when it was Barbie and Oppenheimer. Has anyone seen the Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've not seen it.
Instagram about why Barbie. I feel like the ending should have been the beginning of the movie. What? Should have started off with the ending. I could have at least learned something from the movie. But anyway.
So yeah.
Coming from a girl who didn't have a Barbie growing up, because I used to not have one growing up.
I've triggered people already. So yeah, the Barbie movie was a massive commercial success, and it reverberated everywhere around the world. The marketing was so on point, everything was just so on point, and the fact that the Barbie movie had such an impact inspired me to write something, because Barbie was actually banned in the Arab world. It was banned in Lebanon. It was banned in Kuwait. And it was banned because they saw it as promoting something alternative to their faith, to their values, to their beliefs. Yeah, they said that Barbie was promoting something that is just alien to what they believe.
So would you say it can't promote their feminist movements, second, third wave?
I mean, a lot of those countries have issues with human rights. So what I like to do with my poetry anyway is to talk about underlying issues and to kind of put underlying issues and elements like that into my work, into my poetry. So this poem I'm going to read is called Barbie in the Middle East. Barbie is not a film. Barbie is a brand selling you childhood, adventure, and possibility. People in Lebanon, Kuwait, Algeria are upset with Barbie. Barbie is a brand that gives every woman a voice, a platform, a warm, terrifying way of reimagining this current patriarchal system. Barbie is an echoing crack in the ground. Can't you see patriarchy is burning? The world is burning. Capitalism is killing us all. Soon, artificial intelligence will be here to steal jobs, to demolish relationships, to disrupt industries. Barbie is a reminder that glass ceilings have to shatter in order to pave a way for a bright, sustainable world. Sometimes films are made to remind us our existence is divine, there is hope, and we have to work towards the bigger picture.
I like the phrase or the line that you said, echoing crack in the ground. I love how it recognizes that something so small can grow to be something quite big, and echoing as in repeating, because there's times throughout history where movements or things are suppressed, ideas are suppressed, and then they re-emerge again even stronger, create this whole idea of third, second wave. There's always going to be these issues, and you can't kill an idea. So at some point, I just love that idea that the echoing crack can relate to, you can assign it to anything, but the idea that, resistance always perpetuates and then gets bigger and bigger. So I just want to say I love that line. So that's it.
I love how you used a piece of pop culture to then, bring in your own personal and also wider political issues. And I wanted to know if you sat down intended to write about, or start off with Barbie being the inspiration for it, or did it just come to you in flow? Was that just a poem, or would you intend to be I want to write about my feelings towards, or what Barbie's inspired in me?
Usually I'm sparked by the immediate effect of something. So I will watch a film and it will have an impact on me, and Barbie was one of the films I watched. And I was I need to talk about this. There's so many things in Barbie. Barbie is not just a film. It's a brand, of course. It's a franchise, of course. But there's so many elements in Barbie that kind of go into society and underpin society. And there's so many things you can unpick from Barbie, and also things that you can there's things in Barbie that you can implement into your own life, like maybe whether it's revisiting your inner child, or maybe it's having that sense of fun and curiosity, and maybe adding a little bit of adventure to your life, or maybe even it being something that empowers you to seek something better.
So yeah, no, in your poem you're speaking about topics such as like capitalism killing us all, working towards like a brighter future. I mean, but in the ideal, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but definitely not. But in the ideal world, we won't live in a world where it's a utopia. Or I know we can work towards a cosmopolitan world. How do you suggest? I know we don't all have the answers, but how do you suggest working towards that? I know you did say that people should engage with their inner child, engage with their curiosity, but how? I mean, practically in the real world, I mean, how would that look like?
Like, I dream of like big corporations doing more for the planet, and I dream of like, it's crazy to me that some companies make billions and billions and billions and billions every year, but they don't give back. They don't feed people. They don't create things for communities to thrive. They don't, focus on the resource of like recycling. They don't focus on sustainability. I mean, there's so many issues in the world, and like we're all part of it basically. And also the bigger players, they have more to do because they have more resources, they have more infrastructure, they have more, their scale is massive. So I think that the world can never be perfect, but it can be better. You see what I'm saying? It can be way better than it is. And it's those little things, like one person. It makes a massive difference. When it gets to 8 billion, it makes a massive difference. So like, I just think that one step at a time, but then there's things that we can do that kind of make a difference, like recycling, for example. It's a simple concept, but it makes a difference. Like if you do it for a long period of time.
Can I also? So those are good solutions. But what would you say to someone who is weary of looking towards for a brighter future? Some people may say these answers for decades. We've been saying these sorts of things. How would you suggest people rejuvenate their spirit in looking for better times? No, because like you said, of course, there are solutions. We all can make a world a better place, but some people may have given up along the way. I can say for myself, I mean, I'm still young, but there was a time I was very much more optimistic to say that, yes, we can do something. Even with the Palestine conflict going on, the first few months I thought, no, we can do something against this. But as we've seen it progressively go on throughout the last few months, it's getting worse and worse now. And even to a point where people like myself, who are very much engaged with it, we've even become more fatigued to even see it and not really engaging with it as much as we should. So how would you suggest that, mainly it's a question for myself, how would you suggest you rejuvenate the spirit to actually wanting to make the world a better place?
I mean, education is a good driving force for change. I mean, education is one of the things that changes the world, and I like how the students in many countries around the world, they're against what their governments are doing. They're against, what their governments are upholding. And I think the kids are the future. And if you focus on the kids, there is a lot of hope. There's a lot of things going forward. And I think as well, one individual can make a difference to their own life, and that reverberates everywhere. You see what I'm saying? Like one person changing their life is gonna change other people's lives. You see what I'm saying? And that's a small change. And then that happens multiple times. It creates this whole vortex of change. And as well with movements and with the fight for like solidarity, they are these bigger players that literally they can just make one phone call, or they can make, they can say one thing or change one policy, and that changes the course of history. So it's not actually a big thing. You see what I'm saying? But it looks like it's a big thing, but it's not actually a big thing. It's just like they do one thing and it creates this ripple effect.
I mean, I never watched the Barbie, but I think what I didn't like about the Barbie movie, it was the marketing side of it. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. But then this your piece here, it made me understand what the whole purpose of Barbie was. It was breaking, I wouldn't say breaking traditional roles, but it was opening ideas of what women can be than beauty. Because what I see nowadays is like a lot of girls nowadays follow a certain trend and they think it's that way, and not realizing that could lead to a dark path, not realizing there's multiple ways to become. Like, I see a lot of girls trying to become Instagram baddies, not realizing deep down they're just feeling their loneliness. But then with your perspective, this is your poem, you realize like, you could be more than beautiful, you could be intelligent, you could be smart, you could be brave. Now, I'm not saying women should not rely on men. We do need each other, but we can support each other. I mean, I watched the clips of the movie where I think the boy guy was discovering like, wow, I don't need to save her. She can actually save herself. And it's like realizing we can actually work together and equal in certain ways. And I think, like I said, listen to your piece here, it's like, even listen to your piece and listen to your whole, I feel like you give me that revolution mindset that you actually want to bring humanity together and more closer. And I think it's a beautiful thing. But there's a question I want to ask you, like, which poets that inspire you, like, to write more? Like, actual old school poets.
That's a good question. Poets that inspire me. There's so many poets. My favorite poet is Warsenshire of all time. And then from there, you've got Ajamane, you've got Mary Oliver, Benjamin. Shout out to Benjamin. Yeah, Zephaniah. You've got Yomi's amazing. Like, you've got so many poets, man. There's so many poets. I'm also inspired by poets that don't live in the UK. Mahmoud passed away, the Palestinian poet. Mahmoud passed away, but he inspires me. Yeah, I'm inspired by poets from all around the world. Imitaz. You've got poets that speak a different language and their works translated to English. But yeah, poetry is one of those things that's universal, and it connects us all, and it transcends borders, and it transcends identity, and it's like, it's this unifying bond. Like, it's like a friend that we all have in a room, and it's this wonderful thing that connects us all, and it's an honor to have poetry, and it's also, as well, a thing where if you're not part of a community, you don't know about poetry. You don't know it exists. You don't know these places exists. You don't know about the National Poetry Library. You can go to the National Poetry Library and pick up any book you want and read as much as you like. And it's a whole entire universe in itself. And poetry is this incredible thing that it births community, and it can birth revolution, and it can birth a whole entire movement of way of tackling literature, or a way of tackling policy, and critiquing governments, and critiquing the status quo, and critiquing the system. So yeah.
Just going back on kind of the things that people have talked about, I think what I feel like is that in society right now, like we're encouraging people to be themselves and be artistic, but pursue music, pursue art. Something I do feel like we're not doing enough is cultivating another generation of leaders, because it's not for the youth. Sometimes it's not cool to be like I think with like social media, it's like be an influencer, be a YouTuber, be a rapper, be a singer, be an actor. But we need more leaders. And how do you feel like we can kind of tap into the younger generation to kind of cultivate essentially like the next Martin Luther King, the next like Malcolm X? Like, how do you think we could do that?
How do we create leaders with the young generation?
Yeah.
Education. Education literally opens a lot of doors. I think if you educate the youth and you tell them that there's multiple choices, multiple opportunities, this in essence will create an aspect in their minds that they can aspire for more and they can aspire to be something. And leadership, for me, I see leadership as curiosity. A leader is curious. A leader wants to know how to move, how to create a space that's better. And a leader wants to take people with them. For me, leadership is about curiosity. And if you can spark that curiosity through education for young people, I mean, you're going to create loads of leaders, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we do have leaders. I just don't think they're positioning. Like, I think people that pursue power, like, you know, political power, aren't usually the best people or the best human beings. So most good leaders aren't looking for power or political power to kind of, I mean, they are doing things grassroots, like, you know, social enterprises, fighting social justice, like promoting awareness, but they're sometimes not putting themselves in the positions where they can be elected. And I think sometimes it's just like there's no way to make it accessible for the youth in that, yeah, education works, but like, you know, when you're like flooded with social media messages about trying to, you know, make money, pursue fame, like sometimes like the educational content on social media isn't as accessible or is not, the algorithm doesn't let it, you know, isn't presented or served on their phones when they're consuming, you know, whatever they're consuming online.
I mean, a lot of young people are influenced by, you know, music. They're influenced by culture. They're influenced by things that are in their immediate circle, maybe even their friends. So it's like channeling the message in those sectors, and maybe hopefully it can reach them. Then you could create like an echo chamber of you know, of news that's being fed to them that is more positive, more, you know, forward thinking, more hopeful. So yeah.
I just wanted to jump into that conversation because I do feel like maybe the medium is the message, in the sense that social media's intention is not actually to educate people. It's just like a tool of capitalism at the end of the day. So like I feel like education is the answer, and that we should just try and get people's focus off of social media, and maybe that reevaluate our own relationship. I'm always trying to reevaluate my own relationship to social media, because I guess as an artist is one way to find your audience and showcase your art and the stuff that you're doing. But at the same time, you just that social media isn't a positive, like an overall positive place, and like the intention of it isn't for artists to thrive. It's really just for influencers to sell you things. So I'm trying to figure out steal your attention and data.
The
dopamine, exactly. Yeah.
Also, like you said, it's the accumulation of data because you're the product, and then mining that. It's a profit motive. It's the root for all.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, even this conversation itself has just reminded me that I need to be more in the books, more going to talks and lectures and things like that, because that's really where your mind's gonna spark the next, or you hear the next, or see the next leader. How? I guess my question is, how can we make those things more attractive than social media, because of things like the dopamine hit that is just so accessible and it's so just like instant, and like things like going to a lecture or reading a book, it requires so much more effort. And
a lot of people I know go to the what's it called? They go to the Excel, and they go there for conventions, for talks, for speeches, for concerts, for shows, and you get a lot of influential people from around the world, renowned speakers, award-winning people, and I think that's a nice space in itself for people to come, young people to come, and people to engage and to get involved and contribute or learn new things or be a part of that space. And I think we need more of that. We need more of that. And as we have more of that, it will create a wave of people being more drawn to, stimulating places and places of interest. And even the fact that we have poetry as well, we have these poetry spaces, and these poetry spaces are sacred because people are sharing vulnerability, people are sharing their insecurities, people are sharing, deep-seated issues. And it's like, the fact that we have these poetry spaces in itself, it's creating a wave of people looking for things like this. People looking for other like-minded people who have interesting ideas, who've been through interesting things. And it's like, it's creating this whole bubble of culture and stimulation, and people just, I see it as a way of protesting, as a way of standing up against something. So yeah.
All right, so obviously, the first piece you heard was me about love as well. So I got another piece I performed at RVJ's event. It was a love poem that I did before Ghana, and long story short, a bit embarrassing, but I was on a date before I went to Ghana, and I thought it went well, it was good and everything. And what I noticed, when people were like, okay, in fact, hands up, you're single. It's like, no shame, no shame. No shame, no shame. You know when you get people with something like, oh, this is my standards, these are my preferences and everything. And to me, it's like, I question certain things because I'm all about action. Actions speak louder than words. Don't ask something if you're not ready to deliver. Don't ask something you're not ready to give. And I think what it is here, our generation, we don't know what sacrifice is. We think we do, but we don't. We don't know what it comes with baggage. It comes with pain. It comes with a bit of suffering. But love can be ugly, but it could be beautiful at the same time. But it's also we want this idea of, I just want this made package instead of willing to put in the work. And I think what it is, men and women, we've gone through that as well. I get a lot of men saying, oh, I want this in a woman, I want this in a woman. But I was like, okay, but what are you willing to give to get that? What are you willing to sacrifice to get that as well? And vice versa, women as well. I'm like, I want this in a man, but it's what are you willing to offer as well? What are you willing to commit? So I think to me, it's a lot of people don't understand, when you want something, you have to fight for it. And when I was in Ghana, I realized something, seeing my sister getting married, and her traditional wedding in Ghana. So basically, you don't know, I'm from Ghana. So I'm from Ghana as well. And in Ghana, we have the traditional wedding, and then we have the white wedding. We call the tux and seal and all that nonsense. But watch my sister. I'll be honest, I focus on the traditional wedding. So watching my sister, and my brother-in-law, I realized something. It gave me hope that I realized that if I want something in life, I had to fight for certain things. And it made me realize, like, you know, for me, if I want love, I had to fight for love. Because to me, I was like, I always tend to avoid it because I'm not good with confrontation. I realized something. If I don't fight for it, how am I going to get it as well? So this piece is called I'm Fighting for Our Love. Never let my consistency be a form of weakness or neediness, because that rose I gave you will one day die because you didn't appreciate the beauty. In your mind, it's a weed smoking insecurity and validation. You rolled up your pain, inhaling loneliness, while forgetting there was love waiting for you on the road to happiness, a heaven fulfillment. I'm not fighting for you, I'm fighting for us. So we can plant our seed and make it into a garden of truth and love. You want people to live by your standards, but you fail to see your standards have turned against you, not seeing that you're living a dream. If I had to find new ways to love you, I would do it. Whenever I find new ways to love you, it's like playing a new game with you. I'm gaining new skills for us to learn and grow. It's like I'm active my childhood spirit with you. You're saying you can't deal with time wasters, yet you're wasting your time finding new ways to self-sabotage yourself, because deep down loving yourself is a struggle. So you rather do that the easy route. Knowing that route leads to pain and suffering, so you rather live in that world that you believe in, that you're worthy of so much more. I find it dumb and stupid for people to have high standards and expectation, especially when finding a partner not understanding is just another form of delusion. I'd rather have my eyes bleed because I know it's the truth and the pain that comes with it. Then I lie to myself with this idiot of having extreme high expectation when you can't consistently put in the work or be in a relationship because you know it'll question your character. My people, love questions our ego. Love hurts because of the way it carries. Having a bit of emotion, anger, frustration, sadness, pain, joy, happiness, and loneliness. So I fight for our love. I'm fighting for you and your attention. I know there's no us without you. That doesn't mean we should stop putting effort in our love. I know love is painful, but it's worth the pain knowing that you and I built something together. I'm not fighting for you, I'm fighting for us. So that was just me just talking about from a perspective of like, why I see a lot of people going on social media giving dating advice. I'll be honest with you, I when they say you're the media's messenger, I say sometimes kill the messenger. Just kill the messenger sometimes because some of the stuff is saying garbage. Like, we don't need to know like your personal experience because it may not affect everybody. Because some people don't know their own traumas, their own insecurities, and they're not actually doing the healing process. Like, find out what made you, like, where did your pain come from? Where did your karma come from? Like, are you insecure? Are you anxious? Or are you avoiding? Find more about yourself before you say you want this in a partner.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think what your poem kind of touches on, there seems to be like sometimes we get in our own way in terms of standards, but also like there's a lot of visual and emotional noise. Like there's the things that society tells us that we should expect from someone, and sometimes we have our own list of criteria for a partner. But sometimes the stuff that some of it is like superfluous. Like some of the stuff on your checklist of like who you're looking for in a partner, it doesn't even matter. Like maybe height doesn't matter. Maybe obviously religion sometimes is a factor. Culture, but like there's like how much money someone makes. I think so. These are the things that we impose on ourselves, and then also like we also judge ourselves by the same checklist that we give to ourselves on ourselves. So like if I'm interested in someone and I don't feel like I fit my own checkbox of who I'm looking for in a partner, then I block myself. So I love that you kind of reminded me of that in this piece.
No, thanks, appreciate that.
We do self-sabotage, but my question to you is, how can we begin to love ourselves, knowing what us as individuals have been through, before we can accept the love from somebody else? I mean, if we don't love ourselves, if someone's saying that they love us, or, you know, you're amazing, sometimes we can't receive it because we're not in the right place. And sometimes it's not just damaging for ourselves, it's damaging the other person, because where they may see it as rejection, it's just that we haven't dealt with certain things that we've been through, if that makes sense. So what would you say you do to encourage yourself to love yourself first? And how do you start that? Not start the healing process, but sometimes things will continue to come up if we haven't dealt with it. It might be with another person, it might be in another situation, but until we confront whatever the thing is, or understand what our triggers are and how we're gonna move differently in the next space, you know, we could be hindering our own happy life.
I mean, what you talk to is actually true, because I think for me it's like, since growing up as a child, see, I had siblings, so I had an older brother, a younger brother, and I'll be honest, when I was growing up here, I was never used to hear my mom say good things, like, I love you, I'm proud of you. Like, you know, some people are a bit biased with the whole love language thing as well. So my love language was affirmation, so I never heard those words growing up. It's only become an adult, my mom starts saying, I love you, I'm proud of you. But then my inner child was saying, like, where was this when I needed that when I was growing up? Because when people say good things about me, I actually struggle to take the compliments, because I don't think I'm worthy of it sometimes, half the time. But then we have something, no, they're actually being genuine, sincere, and I gotta train myself to take it. Now, I'm not trying to be arrogant with it, like saying, yeah, I'm the greatest thing ever. Yeah, thank you. Of course I know I'm great. But it comes from a place of humbleness and learning that we all got things to go with. I mean, if I be honest with myself, I'm secure, but I'm an anxious type at the same time. I like consistency. The minute I don't see consistency, my God, I will start thinking, is this person interested in me or not? What's going on? Do I do something wrong? But then realize something is not me, it's actually them. I mean, funny enough, I was talking to my mom about this, and my mom says to me, Duncan, you're not the problem, it's them. I looked at my mom like crazy, like, what do you mean? No, because you're a poet and you're too smart, you read a lot of books, it intimidates a lot of people. And I realized something, wow. And it makes you realize, wow, it's not me, it's actually them. But not from a narcissistic perspective, but also like, maybe they're not aware of what it requires to get to that level. Because some people want the end goal without doing the actual work. Some people just want the finished product without actually starting the work. And that's why I say, like, you know, when I hear young boys, especially, they say, oh, you know, I want to, like, you know, focus my money, focus my career. But it's like, okay, you do that, but then you have no dating experience. You don't know how to talk to the opposite gender. You don't know how to interact, because you never practice work on your certain side of you. You never talk to your inner child. You never knew your childhood wounds. You never did shadow work. You never realized something that's inside you that you always suppressed, but you never embraced or accepted. And I think with me, when it comes to the poetry side, it helps me do a bit of healing as well. Because during lockdown, a lot of people don't know, I was actually studying hypnotherapy, NLP, and writing. So I learned a bit of psychology, because I wanted to work on myself. I wanted to know what makes me triggered. I want to know my own insecurity. I want to know, like, you know, my family trauma, so I can don't break the cycle. So I don't have to do that ever again. And it's taking a long time, yeah, but even recently I'm starting to, like, learn to love myself and learn to be my own best friend as well. So I would say it's sometimes, it's crazy enough, yeah, but having a journal does actually help. When you write down your journal, how you think and feel, you start actually becoming your own therapist in a way. And you start finding the answers that you're looking for. So I would say start with journaling and then just be open, just be honest with yourself all the time. Some people may not like your honesty, but that's okay. But that's not your problem. That's not your responsibility either. It's still people can't handle your truth.
So you kind of answered it a little bit already, but can you just dig a little bit deeper into how poetry has helped your worldview, and not just how you love yourself, but how you view love in general?
I would say surround yourself with people that have the same energy and inspiration that you have. Like, spend time with poets, yeah. Like, I mean, some people in the poetry scene, I see them now and then, But there's not many poets that I'll actually have a conversation outside poetry and actually have a phone with them and let them know, hey, I'm having a bad day or having a good day. Like, find your own tribe, find your own community. Find people that actually want to heal you, help you. Because there's some people in life, you could give a lot, but to a point, you have no much left to give. And then you're standing by yourself. So I would say it's like, find your tribe, find people that actually want to see you win, and see your downfall. And I think what it is here is like, it's my personal experience. If you're in a dating situation or you meet someone in potential, never tell your friends until you know it's official, because some of your friends will pass on their insecurity or their fear down to you, and that's not from self-sabotage. And no disrespect to some guys, I see a lot of guys do that sometimes, where a lot of guys are afraid of diving in because they're afraid of losing their freedom, when realizing freedom is a solution to their mind. Like, to me, when people say, like, I want to be free, but it's like, it's a solution. You never had it because your parents own you, your education system own you, your force own you, your emotion own you, so you're never truly free. Like, the only thing is stopping you back is actually your actual ego. Once you get your ego and you realize to be vulnerable and deep, just like everything goes to sail. And I think, I'll give a lot of advice to young boys. Like, handle rejection. Rejection builds character. I get a lot of young boys saying to me, I'm scared, I'm going to get rejected. But I'm like, it's a mindset. It's not physical. It can't physically hurt you. It's just an illusion. So even for us women, it's like, it's just a mindset you have. Challenge your own belief system. Question it sometimes. That's the best way to start healing and get forward in life.
On the topic of like relationships, I wanted to ask, like, what expectations do you have in a relationship?
I'll be honest with you, that one, No. You know what? I'm glad. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you put me in the spotlight. Even me for a long time, I'll be honest, sometimes, even I have expectation. I gotta realize, Duncan, you gotta look at reality sometimes.
Okay, but Duncan, you're saying hi, but he's asking what expectations?
No, but I'm saying, like, to me, it's like...
Like, some specificity,
so,
please. I'm not letting go of the mic until you give it.
So I think to me, it's like someone who shares the same kind of style I have. So I'm a bookworm, so we both into books. That's kind of cool. That's one. But also, it's like I like someone who could change my perspective.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I like to have debates with people about certain ideas. Not arguments.
Be careful
debates.
what you ask for.
Not arguments. It's different. Debates. Okay, it's like, if I'm in the wrong, let me know I'm in the wrong. Like, basically, it's like, I'm a type of person, it's like, don't let me get away with murder kind of thing, because I will literally do it. But if you could, like, I'm not saying put me in a place, but just let me, let me know I'm in the wrong, and that way it makes me become a better person. As in, to a point, it's like, we can actually help each other, like, we could bounce off each other. Like, to me, one thing I'll say my negative trait is, like, I'm a natural helper. To a point, sometimes I need the help myself instead of giving the help. So to me, it's more like I gotta learn to let some people help me sometimes. So it means like I gotta let my guard down for a bit. I gotta let that happen. Because what I know is like, especially like me, it's like I rather suffer than be vulnerable sometimes, and I think that's the damaging thing. So to me, it's like in terms of the expectation, I think I just want you to be kind, caring, and just be open-minded. Like, try new things. I mean, I'm a guy who likes rock climbing. You want to do rock climbing, let's do that together. That's fine. But, like, be more adventurous spirits. Don't be close-minded.
He's trying to say he's got core.
Hey. No,
core stability.
But I think, like, when to take that step here, being, like, open-minded. Because I could be stubborn.
What if that
sometimes.
open-minded means doing something other than rock climbing?
Yeah, but as in like.
Because it's not really a question, but along the lines it will be a question. Because I feel that we don't ever really get with someone who actually fulfills that what we expect in someone else, innit? And I feel like you see what you're saying, like you like someone to like change your perspective, yeah. But how often is it, yeah, that you like somebody, not just relationship wise, yeah, but you gravitate towards a new friend because they've introduced you to something that you never really knew that you like or that you never knew before. You know what I mean?
No, of course. No, I hear that. I mean, I have a friend like that all the time. He keeps pointing out all the things about me I don't notice, and I'm like, it's annoying, but I respect that. It's actually annoying, but I respect that, because what you say is true, Jay, because even me sometimes as well, like, I'll look at someone, I'm like, wow, I like, for me, one thing about me is like, I like to see certain parts here that no one else would see in that person, but only I can see that. And I'm talking about mentally, not physically, okay, there's different stories, that. But what I mean by that is like a certain personality that you may not be consciously aware of that I can see. Like that inner beauty that you don't show, that a lot of people can't see it, but I can literally see it. And I think to me, it's like, when I look about my life, yeah, it's like all the people I interact with, half the time, yeah, some people actually want to be with me, but because my own ego or that self-sabotage mindset saying I'm not good enough, it kind of hindered me, not realizing there was actually people that actually wanted to like get to know me, but it's like I was so self-guarded because deep down I didn't know how to be my own friend. I didn't know how to like love myself first. But to me, it's like when I see couples, yeah, like it actually gives me hope. Like it actually like sees me like, okay, they can do it, so can I. That actually gives me inspiration and hope. And I think what the social media does nowadays, especially like Instagram, is like they don't want you to be together. They want you to be separated. They want you to be like enemies to each other. Like when I see like young women saying men are trash, I keep saying to myself, be careful what you say, because God will listen to what you're saying and give you the men you don't want.
Yeah. But you know, Duncan, you know what you're saying about like how you feel like social media doesn't really want us to be together, unless like one thing that me and Ruth do is like and the thing is, and because that like your environment does help, isn't it? And like what you consume does help, right? So. Yeah. So what we do is that we trick the algorithm into feeding us stuff that we want to see in it. So for example, like we want to see relationship stuff in it. So we just keep liking it. So that when we go on our explore page, like that's all we see. And then we see a lot of videos of otters, because like they're very affectionate creatures. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's real. Like when you're so consumed with like things that you don't want to see, like stuff like that, like situationship type of stuff.
Yeah.
It starts to mold into like your expectations, and then that ends up becoming something, and then that ends up blocking your blessing when it comes to finding someone good. You know what I mean? Yeah. You are what you consume.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
No, what you just said was true, because like even what you said about like another thing I see is couple goals. To me, it's like I want to see the raw truth of love, like the actual gritty side of love. Like people, I expect couples that actually argue a lot and moan better. To me, it's like they actually argue and moan, but they're not pretending. They're actually being who they are. They're not putting a facade. They're not like they Instagram saying, "Oh, we're a happy couple," and then behind closed door, they're literally biting each other's heads off. Like. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Instagram wants to see the positive side. I want to see the negative side, like the gritty stuff. Like, show real human nature interaction. Because that's what brings us more closer. If you see, like, couples going, hey, brotherly, some people get sick of that. Like, oh, gosh, I'm disgusted by that. Like, it'll put them off. But then some people, like me, I'm not. That's true. I'm not one of the type of people who attracts the negative. I'm just saying, to me, it's like, I always see the good and the bad. So at least I know how love is, because love has the ugly side and it has the beautiful side. Love is painful as well, and it's also a blessing. It is pleasure, but it's also constant pain as well.
Okay, so it's not a question, it's just like sort of observing what everyone has said today about the concept of love, the one I talked the least about. Do you know one thing I've noticed today, right? If there's anything I could literally leave as a message in like just passing on from the actual poetry you were reading, because it had messages at the end which I felt invoked what you were like. And I was like, this shows me Duncan, like this is something I agree with. And one of the things I noticed in your poetry was, you see, loosely but very like strongly speaking, service is a very big pillar of life. It's actually one of the big pillars of faith as well, beyond yourself. So do you know, today, one thing I do strongly feel is, so there's about 70% isolation currently going on in UK. So self-love doesn't really fit in when you keep just doing it for me, 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 me. And then you forget the idea that beyond you, the idea of fulfilling self-love is to realize where it extends beyond you. So when you've given it to yourself, you have to take it out, like you do painting, right? You've got the paint, you do the paint stuff, right? The show, you've got the open mic. And that way there is an expression that says, I've looked at myself, I get it, I had to go. I've got, like some of us here said the word tribe, people that we have that actually care about our journey. Otherwise it just elongates it for eons. But then, you know, when you come back and you realize, all right, I'm stronger against my capacities, my thresholds, that's where I strongly, truly believe that one thing when we look at the power of love, the power of poetry, and what we're really giving out here in creativity is just to remember the service aspect of it. Because when we give it in a relationship, then even arguments are love. The 3 days you don't talk is love. When you say, I need that break, but you haven't said, I need the break, but you're like, I'm not talking to you for 3 days, and you walk away, that's love. And when you can embody all of that part and parcel, then the idea of love, self-love, and the concept of giving to someone else sort of just disappears, because like I think Duncan sort of just said it, is you are the embodiment of it. So where you're carrying your vessel, everyone will get to experience that of you in part and parcel. But yeah, I really strongly felt that came right out of your poem, and I felt more connected to the individual that you are as a presentation. And that is warming, and I think that's very encouraging as well, especially looking at the ways in which, you know, you said your first question, who's single out here? But own it, because that in itself, a lot of people are doing singlehood through self-love right now. You know, we don't realize that stuff today. But yeah, that's my echo.
I hope it's not too much of a personal question.
Yeah, of course.
But if you have been in love or believed you've been in love, how much are you allowing those past relationships to affect the way you see yourself moving forward?
I feel like no, I'll be honest with you. Like, to me, this is like me being open. Anything. I've never been in a relationship at all, and I don't think I ever experienced true love. I mean, that I have experienced the idea of it, but not actually the essence of it. That's the difference. Like, to me, it's like I experienced the idea of being with someone, like a fantasy ideal, but being in it is two different things to me. So I want to know the true essence of actually being in love, because I always have the idea of it, but I can never like go deeper, because I'm a true overthinker. And to me, it's like I think about love all the time, so I don't know how to feel it until I experience it. So I'm always trying to search that feeling of love. And I know maybe one day I'll feel it, and I know it'll be a different level. But until then, I just think of the idea of love. So that's what it is. So to me, it's like when I meet people, yeah, like who say like, you know, I'll never be in love, or I'm afraid of love. I'm like, you talk about the idea of love, but being into them things. I mean, that's why I say love, it can be an illusion sometimes, when you take away your ego and you start looking from a different perspective, angle. Because I was thinking about 5 years ago, I thought I had feelings towards this person, not realizing I was projecting my own desire for this person, not realizing this person who's going through pain and suffering, and I didn't give them a chance to heal and do their own work, not realizing I want something for my own selfish gain, and that's me being selfish. So to me, it's like, when I look at love, it's like, it's a duty, but it's also sacrificing in certain ways. Because in my culture, from Ghanaian culture, like, we tend to like do things from a duty perspective. So watching my parents, yeah, because my parents been married for like 31 years, and watching them how they interact, I never see my parents say I love you, but they would do very active service. My mom will hang my dad's clothes. My mom will talk to him before he goes to bed. They would have that moment. So to me, it's like, it's the act of service and duty. That's why I see as a form of love. Now, I know there's different types of love, but that's the one I visually see.
I like how you said there's different types of love, but that's the one I actually see, because that's like your first hand experience, isn't it?
Yeah. 2020 was like, I remember 2020 was just like a crazy time in my life. Like, you had the series of lockdowns, you had, you know, people losing their jobs, and all these things happening around the world. And I remember thinking, like, what else can happen in 2020? And at the time as well, I was in a job that I didn't really like, and I couldn't see a future in it. And then I remember George Floyd happened, and that opened up a whole Pandora's box, because you had loads of institutions coming out saying, oh, all these things, and talking about how can we make, the institution more culturally diverse, and they were talking about, how can we implement, things in the curriculum that give students an insight into socially engaged topics. And yeah, so this piece is really inspired about the political time we were in 2020 and the George Floyd moment. And this piece as well is like, it's a bit like, it's talking about the 2020 period, but at the same time it goes into what would I tell my future kids if they asked me what I was doing during the George Floyd time. I dared to tell my future kids I was there marching along the streets of London when George Floyd was killed in USA. Injustices, unfortunately, will always be there, like a million screams heard in a forest. No human heart is more important than the entire sky. Even if you fell today, the sun will set tomorrow. Hope will always be there. I dared to tell them how much I love them every second of every day of every year. Politics is a lullaby. Politicians sing. The earth is broken, sad, and on the edge. Water pipes could burst underneath the ground we walk. Gold exists in all the countless things we cannot buy, like love. And what is love without taking a leap of faith? What is peace without listening to the rhythm of your own heart? Every day there is a war against the poor, the immigrants, the Muslims, the women, the LGBT community, the other, the different. Is this how we are supposed to be on earth? The tragedy of knowing nobody is safe, not even the rich. The tragedy of knowing nobody is safe, not even the rich. I dare to tell my kids, if kindness is a rose, give that rose to everyone you see. You never know who needs it most. I dare to tell them to consume their days as slowly as possible. Don't forget you hold the incomprehensible universe inside of you. Yes, you are the gift to the world. You are the blessing the world needs. The world needs who you were made to be. I dare to tell my kids all these things and more.
I'll be honest with you, when I listened to that piece here, it took me back to when I was in 2020 as well, in the Joy of Life thing. I'll be honest, there was 2 albums that helped me got through it. It was Kendrick Lamar's album, To Be a Butterfly, and J. Cole, Born Sinner. Now, when I was listening to Be a Butterfly, like, bear in mind, that album came out 2015, and I was too young to understand it, but then I was literally at the age when Kendrick made that album, and I understood what he was messaged. There was a line he said that spoke to me, to say, as my love runs for finding a continued bound in the sea, I enter a new one. Like, he was talking about his experience in South Africa, and I understand this different energy and concepts, and him bringing it back to his people. And what I heard about your piece as well was like, you're gone away, but you're bringing back certain things that made who you are. And 2020, I feel like, to me, that was a time when all of us were at that carapace stage. To 2022, we became the butterfly. Like, we knew it's that time to become, we did a bit of work on ourselves. We tried to find our purpose in who or what we want to become. And I think that's when, this is my personal opinion, I feel like that's the time when you found out your voice as well. That you started becoming that butterfly. And now you're flying.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. So you wrote that poem specifically for your future kids, right?
Yeah.
So if you could go back in time to the moment that you wrote that poem, what do you think you would tell yourself and other people?
I would say that hope is always there, and I would say that we need spaces like this. We need spaces of healing, spaces of spiritual rejuvenation. We need gatherings that remind us of our humanity. And I would say that poetry is a journey, and it's given me the opportunity to access so many things, so many people, so many places. And it's also a thing like with poetry, you get the aspect of, okay, I can write a poem and then I can perform it here, and you know, if it resonates with one person, it's left a lasting impression. You know what I'm saying? It's left that seed of hope in someone, and I think it's hard to exist in this world right now, with everything that's going on, with all the, you know, crises that are going on. It's hard to exist in this world and not hold on to something, not hold on to hope, not hold on to, you know, some sort of faith or some sort of idea or belief. And I think I'm grateful, and like many other people, I'm grateful that I've got that. I've got something like that.
You know, I'm a fan of your love poetry. So it is more like the process, right? So similar to what I was asking Duncan before, like when you write poetry like this, are you channeling a plethora of experiences, and you kind of, it becomes this amalgamation of just this one being that's almost like, you know, the focus of your writing, or is it just one singular person?
So like when I write love poems, sometimes I'm focusing on a single entity, but sometimes I'm focusing on other aspects. It could be I'm focusing on nature, and I'm talking about my love for clouds because I love clouds.
Yeah, I know you love clouds.
So yeah, I like to, like you said, an amalgamation of different things can be put into a love poem. But sometimes I do like to focus on a single entity. It really does depends on my mood, and it depends on the day, and it depends on where I'm at with my headspace. I mean, love is so ambiguous. It's so vast. It's so vastly absurd sometimes that you can be there forever talking about love, because it's an internal concept, and this idea that human beings always desire. We always desire love. Even if we don't desire love, we desire something similar to love. So yeah.
Or maybe we desire what we think love gives, like acceptance, being seen.
Yeah. I mean, even the fact that people say, you know, certain leaders are, you know, they're heartless, they're cruel, they give them all these adjectives. They give them all these adjectives, and they say, oh, they don't experience love. They have a love for power. You see what I'm saying? They have a love for greed. They have a love for ruining the place, making it a shithole, making it a shit show. So, like, everyone has a love for something. Everyone has a desire for something. I mean, I see love as a strong desire, and as well, love being a journey, or love being a practice, something we practice with ourselves and other people.
But yeah, I love like the idea of love being a journey. Love is such an extraordinary thing in terms of like, it makes you rediscover yourself. And whenever I hear love poetry from your Duncan, it's about self-discovery because love will take you places you never think you could be on the inside. Like, you might not think you're a generous person, but when you meet the right person, you might perform acts of service out of love for that person. You might do something you might be uncharacteristically brave, further than usual, for some person. You might even challenge your own self-beliefs for that person, whether you have a certain viewpoint of a political situation, but if your other half feels a certain way about it, you might reevaluate, like, why, like, maybe I'm seeing it wrong. So I love that love is such a transformative thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I got from, like, love poetry in general from you two.
Yeah, and also the idea of love is an act of solidarity. Like, during the George Floyd thing, I saw a lot of people come together, united, and, you know, standing up against injustice, standing up against, you know, structural racism, standing up against police brutality. And it just made me realize, you know, love is a thing that unites us. You know, whether there's an issue in around the world, people gather together, people of all different backgrounds gather together, and their love can be an act of solidarity, you know what I'm saying? And I think the powers that be, they don't want us to realize the shit that they've put us in. They don't want us to be so engaged. They don't want us to talk about, you know, the issues that divide us. They don't want us to connect and get together like this, because love is one of those things that really it creates conversation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I mean, what you said is true, because surprisingly enough for me, it's weird. Like, love, when I think of love, yeah, it brings my creativity side even further. Like, even growing up, there was a book I read called The Great Expectation by Charles Dickens. And the story of Pip and, what's that girl's name? Not Miss Havisham. The girl, Pip falling in love with her. It represents modern day society. That a man with pure heart will still find love for a woman who's been damaged and tortured. No, I won't say damaged, but been taught by a woman who's been damaged and scored. And to me, it's like it's the idea of hope and kindness as well. Because there's some people don't know experience that energy. So when they see that energy, they freak out because they're not used to it. But then when you meet someone who actually has that good energy, you literally it makes you question, like I said, everything, your beliefs, your energy as well. I mean, one thing I notice about me is, like, if I'm in a situation, the first symptom to me is my heart. If my heart starts pumping faster, that means that I literally have that strong emotion towards that person. Because that's the first part of my body that will give me the signal how I feel about that person. Like, to me, it's like, some people wear the heart on their sleeve, and I think when you wear your heart on your sleeve, it's kind of hard for you because you know you're a huge giver, and once you know you give you owe. You don't give like 90%, you give 100% to everything. But with your poem, like, my question is to you is this one. Like, in terms of, like, is any like any rappers or R&B singers that inspire you to write sometimes?
So I grew up in a house where we have vinyls of Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. And then I grew up a bit older, and then I was like, wait, I love Nas. Nas is like one of my favorite rappers. And he always has socially, politically engaged material in a lot of his albums, whether he's talking about, you know, the intricacies of growing up in New York, whether he's talking about, you know, the issues he faces as a black man, the, you know, oppression of police brutality and all of that. Like, Nas is like one of those rappers. He's a rapper's rapper. And then there's Tupac as well. Like, Tupac, again, this charismatic, you know, socially thinking activist, you know, these many things, like poet, actor. And his message is, his message is, his music is about the oppressed rising against the oppressor. And what I took from that is we need to talk about these issues. We need to talk about the issues that confine us, divide us, make us realize that we're more connected than things are.
Yeah, well, you mentioned some rappers. So basically, like, I was listening to Nas this morning, Baby Goodbye, the one dedicated to Khalees, because he was right. Obviously, Nas and Khalees were married at some point. They got divorced. And in the video, he's got the Khalees's like wedding dress in the video. And I was just thinking back, with Jay-Z and Nas, like, I was trying to think, has Jay-Z ever done like a love song apart from what was it? Yeah, I was gonna say Song Cry. Yeah, sweat me. I was gonna say the only one is Song Cry, but it was like a back in the day thing where like when he's riding in a something buggy or something. But yeah, I've not heard anything from Jay-Z in a while in terms of love. So yeah, like and Tupac as well. Yeah, love can make like gangsters, thugs. I put that in because I don't think they are that anymore, but or they ever were. I think it makes like the most coldest of people like warm. Like yeah, love is just like one of those, like I said, transformative things. So yeah, it was just a gift from what you said there about music.
Yeah, I think Jay-Z has a song called "Drunk in Love." I think that's
Beyonce.
But they remixed it. They remixed it.
Is that Lovely?
And he's got Bonnie and Clyde as well.
Oh yeah, that's it. Bonnie and Clyde.
It's a bit more superficial, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see a girl rock like that for a guy like the way he was doing for Jay-Z in the video.
Yeah.
Like Bonnie and Clyde and stuff.
Yeah, that Baby Goodbye one by Nas.
I think his love, when he puts love in his work, is very subtle. It's very subtle. Yeah. It's very subtle.
I think he's generally very sort of subtle and nuanced.
Yeah.
He uses a lot of symbolisms as well, doesn't he? Like, there's so many like expanded metaphors that if you were trying to break one down, it might just end up creating a whole song. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of sophisticated things he puts in his work. Yeah.
Also, yeah, we're talking about love in that. I feel like as men as well, like I think we need to, because we don't get many examples of it sometimes, or no, we're not showing it a lot. Understanding the difference between love and infatuation, because I feel like we are quick to prescribe something as love when it's not really love. It's like an infatuation, the moment you put someone on a pedestal, the quicker you think you're almost like creating this perfect version of them, and making someone more than human is also making someone less than human. And then it quickly becomes this like obsession, and unfortunately it can become dangerous. Like we people have put people in danger through their obsession and their infatuation. So I feel like trying to differentiate that only comes through experience. And if you don't have an experience of trying to pursue relationships or love, then so you don't have the equipment mentally or to kind of like help you differentiate between different interactions or relationships where you might misdiagnose something for something else. Yeah, so that's what I want to say.
Just want to touch on what you said there, it's true, because it's actually a J. Cole song called Photograph, where he's describing like a woman, but Instagram, he's saying like, I think it's like literally saying like, you're damn beautiful in this picture, but meeting your person is a different story. So it's like he wants to meet her in person, but he keeps seeing her photos. And I think what it is, it's like we don't see the real person behind the scene. Like, because there's too many filters, there's too many people trying to pose anything. And I think what it is like people don't know how to be themselves without feeling shame or guilt. Like I said earlier, it's like me being a poet means I could be naked in my own skin. Like I could share a poem about me being fully comfortable, showing my vulnerability. To a point, it's like people gonna judge me, but it's like, listen, this is my vulnerability, this is my truth, this is who I am. Like like it or not, this is who I am. I'm not gonna change for any audience. And I think to me, it's like, when I look at poets, there's two types of poets. Are you doing it for the people, or are you doing it for the art? So to me, it's like the poets that do it for the people, I like to gravitate towards them because they want to give so much to the community. Then you got some people just for the art. They don't care about the people. They only care about the art itself. And to me, it's like you can't create art without people. You need people to have art. So to me, it's like, when I listen to like everyone today, it made me realize like I can feel comfortable. I can feel vulnerable. Like I'm actually in a place where I can actually call a home for myself, our own tribe. But yeah, but that's like my two cents, of course.
You know, when you were saying about infatuation and love, I think the difference is infatuation is a bee that is hovering around, and you're just watching the bee all the time. Your eyes are just literally on the bee. And love is basically the entire garden. And the entire garden, it adds to your life, and you add to it. So it's like that.
So this is actually a poem that I did beginning of the year, and it was actually inspired by one of my few poets, one of my few people in the poetry scene. Like, shout out to RVJ. I was just seeing one of his work, and like with RVJ, him and we go back and forth with each other a lot. Like, he was one of the few poets that gave me my third headline show. And what I like about his work is just like, he talks to people a lot, and he's all about the community. And when I listen to his work here, it's like, I try to understand him even further for his poetry, even in person. And I remember like I was going through a stage in my life where I was like, transition of like who I am. Because when I say I'm Duncan the sage side of me is the philosophical side, but there's a nice side of me that people don't understand in me, which is known as the trickster, which is like the joker, the comedian, the clown. So the joker and the trickster is a guy who literally is like a shapeshifter, but he always carries a mask to a point, he never shows his true identity. So I was at a point in my life where it's like, do I take the mask off? Do I keep it off? Like, is it broken, or should I hold on to it? So this piece is called Becoming. They say you become what you think about. A great quote from L. Nightingale. A man with words, but my words have lost its meaning. I don't know what I've become. A man with jokes or wisdom. Each year I've lost promise to myself. I let my ego transform from a childlike spirit into a man who has lost faith in love and meaning. I imagine you felt something like this. Pause for a moment and look back at the promise you made when you were a young person, filled with love and hope. I don't know about you. I took the wrong path. Now I don't know if I can make the right turn. I went away from my creative mind into a philosophical crisis. Ask me when I felt a creative idea why psychology or philosophy wasn't involved. While I trust my intuition, it led me to love. But now I'm too afraid to admit I want to surrender to intimacy. I become a new villain in somebody's eye. When a trust is broken, I know it's crazy to believe. A trust is broken, you become a villain or a victim trying to find a hero in a story. Has my story become filled with villains, or a new child's stories ready to be revealed? I lost a lot of respect of my character. I become a man who seeks peace and love, leaving people to mistake my kindness for weaknesses, not knowing underneath there's a shadow. The shadow is a beast ready to defend his ego. As I said before, I don't know what I become, a man with jokes or a man with wisdom. Have I been lying so much that I can't see the truth, when the truth comes out in different forms? I have let my foolish mind let me believe I am loved, or a broken heart feels the pain. Do I understand the curse of a philosophical mind? If I become something like a sage of wisdom, but the idea of love, but too afraid to be in it? Am I returning to a clown who seeks love from a woman's hand? Have I become something? All right. The question is, what is it? Time has to answer me. The question is, why will I become a man with jokes or a man with wisdom? So there was a time in my life where just like I was going through a transformation, and to me it was like, do I go back to me being a a childlike spirit clown where people see me always happy, shiny, go lucky, or a man who's just ready to tell people the philosophy or truth. So it's like there's two sides of me that was constantly fighting, like which to take power, the jokester or the wisdom side. So it was like a Jackal and Mr. Hyde situation in my time, like which one do I grab for? Then I realized something. I just let both of them exist and let them work together.
I just wanted to ask, in the poem you said that you had lost some things, and instead of thinking of it as a loss, you could rephrase it as you had to let go of certain things to become the version of who you are now, because in order to do the things that you're doing now, you couldn't be the version of who you were before. So I don't even think it's a question, but sometimes, yeah, maybe just, it's not a question. Maybe just think about how you phrase things, because sometimes it's not a loss. It might be an adaptation of what you used to do, or it might be a loss, but you're gaining something else, if that makes sense.
So more like regrowth, in a way.
I have a question.
Right.
Duncan, do you know when I heard your piece, I was thinking of like Crossroads.
Really?
Yeah, like, what was it, Bone Thugs and Harmony and Akon, I've tried so hard, So that's one of my favorite tunes, you know. And it made me think very different about even just what the concept of when we're, like when we lose something, are we losing it? Or when we try, and it means nothing, but then the second part of that song is like, you know, something comes out of it. My question to you is, what do you think about the concept of crossroads when you're reflecting in poetry like that? And where would you like to find yourself when you want to be on the, let's say, the positive side of it?
I think to me it's like, when I first started poetry scene, like everyone has their own poet names. And I used to go by Duncan. And I was just thinking one day, I don't know, something out of the blue, I just thought the word sage. And I was thinking, okay, let me go with that. Let me go with the stage, because like people ask me, like, well, I used to ask a lot of people how I was going my poetry. Some say motivational, some say philosophical, some say mystic, and like motivation. So I just saw myself as a sage. And the more I could delve into that side of me, there was a side of me that was screaming for attention, was like the trickster side of me, the jokes of the comedian side. Like, because when people see me, they're like, I'm always happy, I'm always smiling, I'm always cracking jokes with people, I make people laugh. And that side of me was like screaming for attention. It's like, hey, I'm right here, you know. I know the stage is talk about giving wisdom and philosophy, but hello, I'm still here. Like, it was literally fighting for like that identity. So that's why to me it was like, which side do I focus more? Which one do I give attention to? So that's why I wrote that piece called Becoming, because I don't know which side, like who has power. Is it Jackal or Mr. Hyde? And then I realized something, they both consist to work together. So a lot of people don't understand. So when I go on stage, I perform, I like to make people feel laugh, because it makes people feel comfortable. That's the trickster side. And then the stage takes over and gives them the wisdom and philosophy they need to hear. So I learned to make both of them work together.
Oh, so, okay, so that's been a practice, like making them work together.
Yeah, but then there was a time where it was a conflict between the two. Like one of them wanted more than the other.
Would you say that conflict is like totally worth it? Like sitting in that crossroad, recognizing, you know, I don't want to be the Joker or just Duncan. I want to recognize what this actually means. Would you like, when someone, like, let's say if you were telling this story to someone, like I feel like I already answered the question, but like when you're telling this story to someone, how do you see yourself empowering someone to not play around with, let's say, the Joker or themselves, or this is my pen name, but this is my real name. This is what I present myself as, but this is who I really am. Because when I see you right now. I see you as an embodiment of both of them in one, which is holistic. I feel like that should be in everyone, you know? So so the question sort of is, do you know, like generations coming after you, anyone that comes in dialogue with you or in conversation with you, how would you like them to pursue that crossroad when they find themselves in let's say two different parts of themselves, like a Joker or another person?
I would say, me personally, it's like the key word for me is all about acceptance. Accept you have two sides of you, no matter what. Now, it's like I said, we have a good side, we have a bad side. Now, we have to accept both of them exist. Now, one can't exist without the other. It's kind of like there was one track here that stalks me to this day, Kendrick Lamar's song Immortal Man, where he talks about the butterfly and the caterpillar. He's saying the caterpillar does the hard work, but yet the butterfly shines. But without the caterpillar, the butterfly cannot shine, because the caterpillar is the reason why the butterfly is there. So to me, it's more like, in a way, you help me answer my own question. Without the trickster, there is no sage.
I just wanted to hear that. Want to hear that out loud.
How often do you intentionally write with both sides in mind? And exactly how does that come about as a process?
It goes down to like the music I listen to. So if I ever go for like a myth, like a philosophical crisis or craziness, I'll sometimes listen to Eminem's stuff to get into that mindset. Because remember, Eminem and Slim Shady. He had two sides of him. And I actually watched a documentary of Eminem sitting down with Slim Shady. Like, the two sides of him confronting to have a conversation with each other. Like, that's the thing about a creative person. You always have two sides of you. But then when you sit down with that other side of you, have a conversation, it's like, look, I know you helped me, and I appreciate the growth you do for me, but it's like, you might just step back a bit before things go too far or get worse. So to me, it's like, you have to like sit down with the side of you and always understand, all right, are we going to go or are we going to like leave? So it's like I said, you said earlier, it's like regrowth. You can let go of the side of you, but also you can like not lose a part of you, but you can like learn to heal from that side and let go and become even stronger. So for me, it was like the trickster side. I let that side save me, because that's the side of me that actually helps me engage with the audience. Because to me, I get on stage here, I sometimes get nervous and frightened. But me making jokes to people, making people laugh, it shows me I'm at ease and the audience at ease. So that's the side of me that helps me get inside.
Let's say, if I understand correctly, those two sides to you, the sage, you'd say, and the trickster, the joker side to you. If, like you say, for example, that one particular side to you, for example, the joker side to you had been silent for a long time, to what point would you say it's dead? That side to you is dead and is no longer who you are anymore? Because if it was so silent to the point where even when you try to bring it back, it wasn't the case, would you not then say, that's not me anymore, I'm just this person now?
I get where you're coming from. It is quite tricky. I mean, it's easy said and done, because there's always going to be a side of you that's always going to be there. Now, you can grow. People can grow and change. But there's always sides of you that are always going to be with you no matter what. And to me, it's like, I realize the trickster side of me is what helps me gets back to my inner child side. That's the goofy, silly side of me. That's the side of me that gives my creativity and actually makes me realize I'm a kid inside. I got a childlike spirit. So when you hear my piece where I'm saying, like, you know, like I become a victim or a villain in somebody's eyes where trust is broken, as in, like, the minute I don't trust myself, I've broken my promise to myself, or I do someone else, I'm literally become a victim or a villain in somebody else's eyes. So to me, it's like, there's a side of you that helps you open a door to your inner child and helps you unlock that creativity side even further. Because when I look at this, we're all big kids at the end of the day. We all act silly, act goofy. When I'm in the poetry scene, I act like a big kid. Like, I sound about people who are different ages, but I'm with them, I feel like a giant kid again. Like, I can actually act silly, I can actually goofy, I can actually be myself. And that's the real side of me coming out. That's not the side of me that's hindering, it's like, oh gosh, I think they're gonna judge me. Oh gosh, I think they're gonna like me. I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey, this is me, I'm silly, I'm goofy, I'm free, I can be myself. And that's what I mean, is go back to find your tribe and your people. Find people that makes you feel like you could be your kid. So, like, that's what I say, like, go back to that time when you felt like you were in primary school or secondary school, when you saw your friends and you're like happy to see them. Like, you're going to, like, you're so sad, your school's ended, you don't want to, like, leave them. You know, you see them the next day. Like, go back to that side of you.
No, thank you. That's personally helped me quite a bit.
I just wanted to piggyback off what you said. I think, when I first came into the scene, like, I'm actually an introvert. People think I'm extroverted because I do a lot of things and I know a lot of people in the scene, but it took a lot of time for me to be comfortable in the scene. Like, for the longest time, like in the early days, I can't remember who was around, but when I went to BYB, I didn't even start performing poetry. I was just there with like a camera, filming people perform. And Dullah was like, "Who's this guy like filming everyone? He's not even performing." Yeah, I was just like I was literally like a weirdo. And I think like you said, like you have to kind of like find your tribe. And it's really, at the time, it was really hard to be cool because like I would meet a poet that I would really like, and I'd be like, "Hi, my name's like John." Like I would like introduce my government name because I wasn't performing, and they'd be like, "Oh, hi, John. Like, yeah, I saw you filming. Can I get that footage?" So like, yeah, cool. And I think once I feel like I'm comfortable with someone, I can be silly. Because most of the time in the scene in the early days, I was trying to be cool. I was just like, I was like, yeah, I'm just like this kind of like one-dimensional character, I do poetry, but I perform online only, and it's only love poetry. And then I was never like serious about saying joke. I'd be like, yeah, cool. And then, yeah, it's really nice to just like, now that I'm in it, to feel like, yeah, everyone is united in words and putting words together and making feel and expressing themselves and walking their path. So I really appreciate what you do for people, making them feel comfortable, because when I was in it, no one made me feel comfortable, but I was aware that I could have needed more people like that for me. So whenever someone new comes in, I'm always like showing the exact amount of love that I would have wanted to have when I came in. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No, but I mean, what I want to say on something about that is like, about 2 years ago when I sort of entered BYB space, like, and I remember you were literally doing the film. I didn't know you were doing the filming. Like, I saw you because I saw you perform, and I remember you doing your 90s poetry. Like, yeah, and I like that. And I was thinking, like, and I remember the first time performing, I was intimidated by everyone else, because I'm thinking, wow, everyone's good, everyone's sick. So my first ever poem was me doing a love poem about a girl where I don't confess how I felt. And I'm holding a piece of paper, and I'm actually shaking. And I remember, like, going to a corner, I was thinking, okay, I'm done. And then people come up to me like, "Oh, I liked your piece, it touched the heart." I was thinking, okay, like, I actually found people that actually want to gravitate towards. And then spending time with you, Mel, it's like I learned certain tricks. I learned how to find places, how to find venues, learn to find equipment to help me record, get better. So to me, it's like you're teaching the new people the ropes. And then when I see new poets, I do the same thing. Because the people I started with, yeah, even like Karim Leo as well, like, we support each other, we helped each other out, we give each other tips, we gave each other feedbacks. Like, we started be helping, like, it felt like school again. Like, we found each other classmates. And then it's like, you know, like, you found our own new group as well. That's something I met Jay 2 years ago as well at a poetry event as well. It was his first one. And then since then, we just been talking to each other, we became friends. Because we found out ways to support each other and talk to each other as well. And I think, like, the people before you guys, I mean, guess it was a different time ever because it was a lockdown period. So when I see new poets, yeah, I'm really ready to help them out. Like, sometimes they ask me for feedback, I give them my feedback. They ask me like how you do for a headline, I give them tips as well. So it's all about building that community and supporting each other and helping each other out and grow. And I think it's like, I'll say it's like you, man, it's like whatever you're doing, just keep doing it because it's worked well for you for years. Like, you've always been a backbone in the community. You always give people space and platform as well. I mean, same as JK's, like, you know, painting and poetry, you give people the opportunity to connect. You bring the party vibe because sometimes we don't want to listen to poetry. We're at a party, we're at chill. You know what I mean? I mean, even the same as you, like, you did presenting like it as well, like interviewing poets. Sometimes it's like, anyway, we all bring certain things to help each other out and grow as well. And I think what it is, when you have a natural gift, it's like you shouldn't shy away from the world. You should show it to the world. Because some people will actually appreciate it and actually help it grow to even further.
So this piece is like it's like a tribute to my upbringing, and it gives you like a bird's eye view of my upbringing and my influences and why I am the person I am today and that sort of thing. So I come from floppy disks and compact cassettes. I come from watching... All right. All right. I come from floppy disks and compact cassettes. I come from watching Men in Black at Stratford Picture House in the late 90s. I come from Spice Girls. I come from Bernard's Watch and Art Attack. I come from dial-up internet and MSN Messenger. I come from African hall parties. I come from packed lunches and jam donuts. I come from Buffalo Soldier, Dreadlock Rasta. I come from Jawbreakers and Kiss Chase. I come from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Dragon Ball Z. I come from Top of the Pops and Stars in Their Eyes. I come from Tower of London and learning about Henry VIII. I come from North Greenwich O2 and watching Robbie Williams perform. I come from London Fashion Week and Naomi Campbell. I come from Stormzy headlining Glastonbury. I come from Lewis Hamilton winning Formula One. I come from Dizzy Rascal and being a boy in the corner. I come from pie and mash and watching Beckham's free kicks. I come from fish and chips and English breakfast tea. I come from Soul Solid Crew and watching Top Boy. I come from Notting Hill Carnival and Judi Dench. I come from Bridget Jones' Diary and Finding Love Actually.
I'm gonna lie, I had to tell you to bring it back here. The minute you said floppy disk, you sold me. I was like, yo, this is a tune. Only 80s and 90s kids will know about this, the floppy disk. Like, the younger generation don't understand the pain and struggle we have to go through to transfer our data.
Which size floppy disk? Size does not matter. Hang on.
Size does not matter.
According to history,
Nah.
Which size floppy disk?
according to the size as the years went on.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, nah, when you said that about, I was like, yo, that's like, to me, it's like, you just brought back everything that made us 80s and 90s kids. Like, to my primary school to teenage days. Don't even, I wish that you should have bought, it's about Sunny Delights. Like, that was a throwback. Hey, listen, that was a good drink, though. Even though it had high sugar, it was still a good drink. Nah, but I really do like your piece, Karim, man. Like, I think today, you brought different elements. You brought, like, the emphasis on love. You brought revolution. You brought your culture. You brought your childhood. Like, you brought everything that makes you who you are and different entities. Like, and I think that's why I really liked your piece as well. And I think the 90s one, like, everything you say, what makes you a 90s kid, that was actually true. Like, it's well, I mean, shout out to Picture House. I mean, same the way go cinema no more. And I think when you go to Picture House, I remember watching Treasure, I think it was Treasure Planet? Yeah, Treasure Planet, that was a classic movie. But yeah, my question is to you is like, what inspired you to write that piece?
Oh, good question. I just really like exploring nostalgia, and poetry is a great way of exploring nostalgia. Also, as well, apparently the human brain, we don't have access to our subconscious. We only access our subconscious when we dream, when we write poetry, when we even maybe experience a traumatic event. So I like kind of delving into my subconscious through poetry, and these pop culture, these elements, these episodes of different things, they're all in my subconscious, and I was just like, I need to convey this, I need to portray this. Like, it may be a generational gap for some people, but it's still, this is a way of people kind of getting to know me and getting to know my upbringing and the technology, the culture, the things that were happening around me that influenced the person I am today.
So this one is actually inspired by one of Haroon's poems from his book, his first one, Press Play. And I remember like Haroon literally asked me to like write a piece of, yes. And I did a response poem, and it's like one poem inspired me was Lion Doors, which by his book is actually incredible. Like, it was actually good, just reading it, and it spoke to me a lot of volumes. And this inspiration I got from it was like love. Even though it was like completely different from the actual poem he made it, it just spoke to me in a love perspective. So this one's called A Lost Key. Some say London is horrible, and some say it's home. I know where my heart is, but am I afraid to open the door to it? I lost the key, but not my faith in God. Am I speaking too much? I wish my heart could talk, so you can listen to it sing. I wish I could love, and I wish I was not cursed by love. Oh well, maybe one day I'll find the key and open my heart. Only time will tell. I guess I have to listen then. When I find the key, will my heart be alive or dead with her broken dreams? I mean, I'll just say, Karim, yeah, thank you for sharing your piece, yeah, because, like, listening to your poetry, yeah, I actually felt a deep level of emotion. And while I listen to your poems, yeah, I feel a lot of words. Like, your words are very powerful and impact a lot of people. And I'll say, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, just keep writing no matter what. And I think it's just like, with your poetry style, it's like, I could tell you take the time to pour your heart into your work. Like, you pour everything into it. You put your emotions, your experience, everything deep down into it. And I think just keep doing it no matter what. And I think the one where you talk about George Floyd, yeah, how you felt back in 2020, it resonated with me so much to a point I look about 4 years ago what happened to all of us. That we all grew, we all we were all that canopy one day, once ago, and now we're all butterflies, now flying. And now we're finding our own tribe of people. And I'll say to you, just keep doing what you're doing no matter what. Like I said, you got fans and you got people that support your love for work.
I just wanted to say this has been super valuable, and the conversations here, there's been so many treasures, and you guys your work complement each other so well, so that's a credit to your curation of tonight.
I want to say thank you to Meta for organizing this event, this incredible event. I want to say thank you to everyone that came. Without you, this event wouldn't be here. I want to say thank you to Duncan. Thank you for your poems, for your heart, for your heart, your inspirations. Also, like, you've given me like this new warmth, this new perspective on love. Like, love being, you know, this thing that we constantly we need to kind of cultivate, and we need to implement into our lives in many different ways. So thank you for sharing your poems, your ideas, your perspective. And yeah, I hope that this event resonates with everyone and you all go home and you have something new to ponder. Thank you so much.
Yeah, everyone give a clap for yourselves as well. Thank you.